Moorish assassin, anonymous in the building. All Moroccans. What? Think I fell off or fell out, but when I yell out, I ain't afraid to tell the sellouts to get the hell out of the temple. You defile your temple, get the shell out. It's contaminated, get the smell out. You overrated, and I know you hating. What does Canaanland Moors do?
Moorish works for national progress and Moors do not need no fighting on YouTube to get views. We elevating minds, revealing more jewels. So who got next on the Pro Tools? Yes, my bar's next rhyme is the Moors on the rise, so you get where I'm coming from.
Young Moors say they thirsty and hungry for knowledge. Most of us never been university or college. We study the universe that ancestors pay homage. And when I say that I'm on it, yo, I'm on it. For better or worse, I make that promise, I carry out the works for my holy prophet. Stop it, if you think you can. This topic is way over your head, and most talk shit cause they can't comprehend. An optic illusion is what they see instead. Most talk shit cause they can't comprehend. An optic illusion is what they see instead, huh?
Read through, it's just info. No, we never been po. Paper to the people, nature hold the sequel. Until the mind reads decline from divine. Stuck in time, missing signs, oh the line is the people. And yes, I want you for your heads up. This your birthright, light torch, wake up. I'm on the raise up, playing got the stakes up. My fire to the Jake's cup, many are just caked up.
They say in God we trust, but really and truly all we got is us. And you can't fool me, I know God is us. And we unruly, from the womb corrupt. Take off the veil, the facade is up. Move like turtle and snails in a barrage of muck. Like Chester made stale in a mirage we stuck. Still I know we gon' prevail, cause Allah is what?
More praise do be to Allah. We shouted out records from scriptures on the wall. Before that, look to the stars, no holds bar. Timeless, limitless, and it goes far. Yo, it's coming like stories, chauffeur. Opposites on the planet, with humans that work hard planning to have it.
It's all mind excavation.
Took my birthright, poured quad. Yo, maybe for your bloodline, maybe for the oath that you took or the contract you signed. Constitutional fraud, boy, sign line to get sidelined. I come from seeds of divine lines.
Seeds of divine lines. Yeah, you know what it is already. Yeah, you already know what it is. You could hate, you could appreciate. We could appreciate. We keep doing what we do. Stop it.
From the womb, from the womb.
Never to the tomb.
Go check out. It's at Independence Hall. Now, for a lot of y'all who are studying, you know that where we're going, Independence Hall, is where our nationality and birthright was taken.
That's right.
Right? And Ross will tell you that that's right there, excuse me, like the foundation of this corporate USA.
That's right.
So that's going to be the first stop we're going to make. I don't think we're going to get off the bus, though. You know, we'll ride past there because it's tight, you know, parking is tight down there, plus the police, you know. So we'll just take a peek at it and say, all right, this is what this is, and then we'll push on. And then we're going to hit some other key spots, and Rod's going to show us a whole lot of hidden secrets in plain sight. For people that's from Philly, you drove past this stuff plenty of times, right? But because of where it's placed at, it ain't really no pulling over and stopping and getting out and look, Kelly Drive, right? So we'll check all that stuff out, and then we'll head up to Wissahickon Valley Park, and we're going to check out some stuff in the park. So hopefully it warms up a little bit by then, and the ground is a little dry because we're going to be in the park. So it could be a little slippery and a little muddy. So, you know, just keep your footing and get ready for a hell of a tour, man. We're going to learn a lot. So I'm going to sit my behind down. I'm going to turn it over to Ross and let him talk to y'all for a minute. And just get ready. Ross Ben.
Yeah. All right, Lil Scrappy and the band.
Yes, I. Yeah. Respect. More light, more love. The community today. Yeah, we in for some royal tour, you know. And you know, William Penn, they say Philadelphia was a holy experiment, right? That's what I'm calling it, a holy experiment, right? Meaning William Penn said, and this is, you know, their spin, but we're going to start with their spin, right? William Penn said Philadelphia is going to be a holy experiment where we're going to make it a place where
all the churches of London, or all the European churches, as well, like it was supposed to be a colony where all the churches of London, all the churches of Europe could practice their thing freely, as well as live in oneness with the indigenous of the land, right? And that it was going to be a holy experiment, because if they did this thing successfully, right, set up a society where basically everyone, regardless of like if you're indigenous or European or whatever church you are in Europe, then this place will be saved on Judgment Day. Okay? So this was why Philadelphia was born, right? A lot of people say Philadelphia was named Philadelphia because it means city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, right? And that comes from the term Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia in Greco-Roman mythology embodied the love shared between Castor and Pollux, the Gemini twins. Okay, so that's where the meaning of that's associated with the word Philadelphia, meaning brotherly love, right? But Penn didn't name Philadelphia because of that. He named Philadelphia because of Philadelphia's place in biblical prophecy, where we know there was a message to 7 churches. In Revelations chapter 3, 6 of them churches receive like a harsh judgment. Like when Judgment Day comes, yeah, it's like it's over for you. For ABC 1, 2, 3, things you've done. The only community or church that received the beneficent prophecy on the day of judgment was Philadelphia, the Church of Philadelphia. And prophecy is remembered as the congregation that kept the faith. That full prophecy, we need to, like we all need to know that prophecy, because it's a deep prophecy. That's the prophecy that says, beware the Jews who say they are Jews but are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. This is the prophecy that says, yeah, we know that you are of little strength, but I'm going to open a door that which I'm going to give you the key of David. And with that, any door you open, no one can close. And any door you close, no one can open. It's a very powerful prophecy, the fullness of it. But it's Revelation verse 10 that Penn was really naming Philadelphia to manipulate the most, which says, because you've kept my command to endure patiently, I'm going to keep you safe in the hour of trial that is going to come upon the whole earth. So, I'm opening up by sharing this because really, ultimately, what Philadelphia was, the birth of Philadelphia, is an act of magic and an attempt to manipulate historic and prophetic timelines, okay? And how they're attempting to manipulate prophecy is by birth in Philadelphia. They want to invert that prophecy of grace on Judgment Day such that it will fall on the Roman Empire. Okay? So that's what the birth of Philadelphia was all about. Inverting the prophecy of grace through judgment in such a way that that prophecy would be inverted and fall on Rome. So, in order for that to happen, and I'm gonna tell you, this plan comes out of what we would call the Order of the Rosy Cross, or the Rosicrucian Order, who was founded by a man named Christian Rosencruz. And that's his name historically. More than likely it's a title, right? The Christian of the Rosy Cross, Christian Rosencruz. But what is significant about this man is that in the early 1300s, probably around 1320 to 1325, he was a German mystic. Alright, so I'm going to tell you, the man could manifest powers. The man was a mystic, he was highly disciplined, and he could manifest spiritual powers. Alright? So now, you and I all know, like if a man was in our presence right now, and this man manifested mystical powers, he would earn our honor and respect almost immediately. Using his mystical powers. And this is very relevant for y'all as the Moorish American community. Okay? Using his mystical powers, he got admitted into the mystery schools at Fez, Morocco. And he learned the mystery of this land, which is basically, this is the 40th parallel in the wilderness, in prophecy. This is the land that's on the 40th parallel in the wilderness. Okay? The Rosicrucian order that came over here, we're going to go to the cave today. Johann Kelp. Name of his order was the Society of the Woman in the Wilderness. Okay, so they knew what this land was in prophecy. And we're on the 40th parallel. And we know the mystical dimensions of 40, biblically, right? Noah with the 40 days and 40 nights on the ark, and Yasu's fasted for 40 days in the desert, and, you know, it's a whole lot, 40s. But why? Because this land, and what's significant about this being the 40th parallel in the wilderness, this land is immune from natural disaster. So that is why they chose this land to birth a place that was going to be saved on Judgment Day. Because no natural disaster has ever occurred here, and no natural disaster ever will. And that's why this was the indigenous capital of the Lenape, Amexem, the place where the kings meet. You know, so all Algonquin speakers on the northeast, going up through, you know, what's Maine today, parts of Newfoundland, down into the Carolinas, 13 federated Algonquin clans, this land was the capital for the same reason. You know, it's a place immune from natural disaster. And it's the 40th parallel of the wilderness and prophecy. So that's why they chose this place. But then to really secure that prophecy, to really secure the inversion of that prophecy, they also had to do one thing. They had to steal the prophetic birthright of the so-called lost 10 tribes who were here. And that was another great mystery that Christian Rosencruz learned in Fez, Morocco, that this was a sanctuary. This was like this sanctuary city, you know, all that. This was the original sanctuary city from Rome, meaning lost 10 tribes ended up over here and was actually, and this is what from, you know, because we should have mentioned that, right, we got royal guests with us, the Canaanland Moors is in the house, you know, but from the time I was building with them, I really had to study and research the relationship between Israel and Moab, you know, and it's been like a love-hate dynamic, but from the time Rome rolled through both what would be considered Moab and Israel and Judah, I would say the Federation has been very strong. And that when we study what they was dealing with in the mystery schools in Fez, Morocco, one of the mysteries they held close, and one they never wanted Rome to find out about, because it was the Moors as the Phoenicians, children of Tyre, and Carthage controlling the navigation routes to the Americas. They never wanted Rome to get beyond Gibraltar. They always wanted to contain Rome within Gibraltar, because they knew if they found out that you had this wilderness where, like, and when you study the wilderness in different scriptures, it's a land of abundance and plenty. That was another reason why this land was protected, because the natural resources was in such abundance that it was always supposed to be for the all. No one was supposed to covet and claim the abundance over here for themselves, personally, you know? But the Lost 10 Tribes had a refugee society here. And if you made it across the Atlantic and would honor the law of one, which is Islam, I, self-law, am master, right? Basically, do unto self, do unto others as you would have done to self. Simple, right? And the grandmother clan, you vibed with them because they were the ultimate, they were the Congress, they were the original Congress, right? The lawmakers. Yeah, you could have as much land as you could walk in a day. You could have as much land as you could walk in a day. That's how it was. So if those who know the story of Penn Treaty and the proprietors of Penn and the Penn Treaty, how they, manipulated that basic way of life that we had here, so that when William Penn died and his sons brought that up, that, hey, our father said y'all had a treaty with him where we could have as much land as we could walk in a day. They had rigged this thing such that at the end of the day, they walked from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh and said everybody and all everybody else in between, y'all gotta roll. So that's Penn's Woods, that's Pennsylvania, right? But Christian Rosencreuz learned all these mysteries. Lost 10 tribes over here in a place that's on the 40th parallel of the wilderness and prophecy. This place that is like immune from natural disaster. Wow, this is a perfect opportunity to resurrect Rome, reincarnate Rome in such a way that it can escape judgment through prophecy. Escape the judgment that is due to it in prophecy, and actually earn the prophetic birthright of the lost 10 tribes. Because it's on a place immune from natural disaster, and these are the people prophesied to receive grace in the hour of trial. So that's why Philadelphia was born. Okay? All of this is memorialized in City Hall. We'll probably drive by City Hall, right? But I'm going to tell you about this other woman that we should all research to learn more about this. Her name is,
Where is it memorialized?
where is it memorialized in City Hall? Okay, so, and let me get to that, because I'm going to tell you about this woman. Her name is Jane Lee. Okay? She's a mystic who was part of founding something that was called the Philadelphian Society in London. And she is a mystic, had mystic visions, and would write down what she, write down her visions. So she got a lot of books. I look at her like I kind of look at the Bible. Most of it, you can tell it's got something that inspires, something that resonates with your spirit. But then she got some straight up fuckery in it that is like, what? And particularly in these two things that she wrote, called A Message to the Society of Philadelphia. Because basically what she did was she manipulated biblical prophecy and took it out of context to justify the piracy of the Ma'afa. And stealing the birthright here and claiming the daughters of Tyre. Because in her, and how does she do that? And all this is related to City Hall. That's why I'm sharing this, okay? How does she do this? When in her writing she says, and the biblical passages, the prophecies that really inspired me to found this Church of Philadelphia. Now, mind you, Church of Philadelphia got its own prophecy. I already told you that. Revelations 3. Some of the most powerful prophecy in all of Revelations. This is the prophecy of the Church of Philadelphia is the first mention of the New Jerusalem. It's like if I was going to draw upon biblical prophecy to be inspired on founding a Church of Philadelphia, it's a no-brainer. That would be the prophecy I would use in my inspiration. The New Jerusalem, okay, something on them levels. She cherry picks all over the Bible to justify piracy. She says the daughters of Tyre are going to be there with a gift. Who's the daughters of Tyre? We hear with the daughters of Tyre. And that even the rich is going to entreat thy favors. She prophesies that ships are going to go beyond the shores of Tarshish. And Tarshish is Gibraltar. And that ships are going to be waiting with their sons, their gold and their silver with them. These are the prophecies, biblical passages she's building this Church of Philadelphia on. She says, and just if, it's like, oh, Rosh, you're tripping. She's like, nah. She says things like the stranger is going to be your plowman. The alien is going to dress your vineyards. So when you understand oh wow, we're gonna have a intense time at the art museum. There's a walk run today. All right, we good, but we're gonna have to navigate that. We'll see how it is because there's enough things to see. Because let's say the vibes is like, yeah, we're not gonna do this. We're just gonna go back up in the Wissahick and we'll hit we'll hit Council Rock and Chief Tammany and go in on that. So don't feel no way. We got, enough to see. We're gonna be flexible on this thing. But three key figures in the Philadelphian society. John Portage, who studied right under Jacob Boehme. You know about the Bohemian Society. Jacob Boehme was Christian Rosencreuz's #1 disciple. So I'm giving you this And Set and Rob, if we get everyone's email, we'll email you a chart with all of this. Alright? But Christian Rosencreuz, #1 disciple, Jacob Boehme, he actually set up a course of study. You could get a degree in Bohemian studies in Germany in the mid-1600s. And this was basically a way of life designed to be able to colonize the Americas. We'll talk more about that when we get to the Hermit's Cave. Under Jacob Boehme, John Portage took Jacob Boehme's teachings from Germany to London. There, he linked up with Jane Lee and a man who really historically straight up is a pirate. His name is William Markham. Very difficult finding information on William Markham. But William Markham, he was a privateer. We know the difference between a pirate and a privateer was whether they did the same thing. But the issue was, were you going to be working for a royal crown or not? If you were working for a royal crown, you were a privateer. If you was just working on your own, or maybe working for the Sultan of Morocco, then now you a pirate. Right? Isn't that how that thing worked? Alright? Alright? I mean, and that's how that thing worked, right? When we read history. Okay? So William Markham is remembered as a privateer. But now, if I was a privateer, and I wanted to take over the historical enemy of Rome, Carthage, Tyre, Phoenicia, right? And I needed some prophecy to justify what I did. Not only justify what I did, but even like put me in a position where, right, I could take the daughters with their gifts, right? The rich brethren is going to entreat my favor. They're going to be plowing my fields. They're going to be, dressing my vineyards. And I'm going to be saved on Judgment Day? Give thanks. Rastafari. Hey, you'd have to give thanks, right? This is what Jane Lee did for William Markham. William Markham was the point man. William Penn was a front. William Penn was only in Philadelphia 4 years. Okay? William Markham was the first governor of Penn's Woods. Penn's Landing, mythical farce. Both William Markham and William Penn landed in Chester. Chester was the first capital of Penn's Woods. And we see the condition Chester's in now. So, how all of this is memorialized in City Hall. #1, City Hall is, we got 5, what's up? Yeah, this is significant for later when we talking. If we get by the art museum. All of this right here, we're near Franklin Square, which is right there. This is where they memorialize Franklin's quote-unquote discovery that static electricity and lightning are the same phenomena. Alright? We get to the art museum, we're going to build on this more as far as Franklin freeing the Titans and opening the gates of hell and working with the Titan Prometheus, okay, to steal the electric fire from the heavens. But getting back to this whole manipulation of prophecy being rooted in City Hall. #1, City Hall is not just a regular building. It's a temple. It's a megalithic temple built with 22-foot thick stone blocks. There's no steel beams or girders holding up City Hall. It's built like Pyramid of Giza. It's a megalithic structure, and it's the largest structure of its type that's not officially a temple. So it has a municipal intention on the surface, but it's ultimately a Babylon mystery temple that's encoding a couple of deep mysteries. One, that Rome is a resurrection of Babylon, and we know that, right? And beyond that, it has all of these prophecies that Jane Lee used to birth Philadelphia encoded in it. So yeah, we're coming up real quick. I'm gonna switch real quick just because where we're at. Alright? So we're very close to what's called historically Independence Hall. And if you look at your map, right, you'll see that there's like 6 prominent ley lines converging and a point in Center City. This is where we are, right? And one thing about what was called Penn's Philadelphia, which is basically downtown Philadelphia, Spring Garden Street to the north, South Street to the south, the Schuylkill River, also known, well, we called it the Manayunk River, to the west, and what they call the Delaware, which was the Lenape-Hana, to the east, right? This land was, like I said, this place, Amexem, was our indigenous capital. And this land right here, we said it was so sacred, so powerful, that whatever we did here would happen with the full participation of the earth. Right? Europeans would say 6 ley lines converge here. Okay? But there's also, if we get to the art museum, that's where the Lenape Mound, our most sacred earth mound, what they call Fairmount or Firemount. So you hear about Fairmount Park and all that. That's talking about the mound, our most sacred mound. And we considered it an earth mound. We didn't associate it with fire. That's another way they manipulated the land by displacing the primary element that we gave rulership of it. This is all about our earth region and our tradition. They made it a fire region. And this is part, again, with Prometheus, electric fire. Ben Franklin discovering electric fire here. You know, and again, if we get there, we'll get deeper into that. But here, all this land right here, this is it. This is where these 6 ley lines is all coming together. And they got it memorialized by one statue, the Commodore Barry statue. And Commodore Barry was the first commander of the Navy. And even today, study of geomancy, ley lines, the magnetic grid and field of the earth, and its relation to space-time. Navy rules all that. Navy rules all that. Here it is. This is it, right?
No, up the street.
Oh, okay, we coming, yeah. Hey, if y'all watch that National Treasure movie, the first one, they drop a lot of mysteries about this region right here, you know? Now, also too, Penn Treaty, like I said, it was a complete mythical farce. There is no record of this land, what they call Penn's Philadelphia, being deeded to anybody. All right? William Penn did get to negotiate with William Markham, again, because William Markham was the mastermind really behind all of this. He brokered William Penn to have some land that's in what's called Bucks County, north of here, what they would call Newtown, that Newtown Square region. There's several Friends schools up there, right? The George School and all them, yes. That land is documented as the land that was given to William Penn, the land he could walk in a day and have. This land was not to be bought or sold. When you read William Penn's account of him hollering at Tammany about this land, Tammany says straight up, I don't want to sell no more land to anyone. I wish all white men would go home. They brodied this land by assassinating the queen goddess Winona, Chief Tammany's wife, the grandmother, the elder of the grandmother clan, who ultimately were the decision makers of who should and should not have land. This land, like nobody was going to, this was Shocks and Moxon. That'd be like me saying that I'm Ross and I want the White House. I'm, you know, like, they'd be like, you can get a spot in Silver Spring, right? You get something in PG County, but nah, you're not gonna get the White House. This is like what they did, right? And they wanted, where is it?
Right there.
Bam, you see that?
See where all the people are?
That's where the 6 ley lines converge, right here. And this is where the quote-unquote Declaration of Independence and the birth of the nation occurred. Birth of the United States. And why did they do it here? Because everything that is done here, what?
Full participation.
It happens with the full participation of the earth. So even the earth had to acknowledge, number one, Chief, what they call the so-called Penn Treaty, because after, wow, I wish we could manage the traffic to let them see that Tammany statue. Because there's...
We can.
All right. Everybody got this. Let's go there.
So...
Or is it?
Yeah, just 1 second. So you know where that statue is, right?
It's right there.
No. Chief Tammany, down at the bottom of Front Street where the bus depot is. At Front Market. I'll navigate you down there. So, right quick before we pull off, of course this is where the Constitution was written at too. That's Independence Hall. And this is where George Washington, where the whole symbolic chopping down the cherry tree. This is where your nationality and birthright was taken, which is what Ross was telling you. That movie National Treasure, that's when you see Nicolas Cage run past that statue where Ross told you that the 6 ley lines were, and then he came right down here. He ran across the street into that park.
Oh, yeah,
so Ross can go in on that park.
Yeah, I
right
should even mention this, right? Because this is called Washington Square now, okay? But originally this was Congo Square. This was the only place we could congregate in freeness originally in Penn's Philadelphia, because it was a burial ground. It was our burial ground, right? And we would have why it was called Congo Square, because like when you study dispensation and dispersal of Africans into this land, and I know like there's this debate, like did it happen, did it not? It's both and. It's both and. They did steal the identity of the Lenape and the Algonquin. You know, I would think who you all identify as Moors in America would be the Algonquins. So they did make a lot of them Negro. If we get to Chief Tammany's statue, I'll talk about how that happened here in Philadelphia. Because basically when the Treaty of Easton was manipulated, right, which more or less validated the walking treaty that we had talked about, how the proprietors of Penn's children, manipulated the walking treaty such that they could claim from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. They forced all the Lenape west of the Alleghenies, right? But they said, they gave them a choice. You could go west of the Alleghenies and maintain your indigenous identity. But if you choose to stay here, you gotta become a Negro. So you did have that, but you did also have Benjamin and Judah, because remember we said the 10 tribes was here. Part of their plan, they wanted to steal that birthright I was talking about. We're going to see that statue. They wanted to bring all 12 tribes together. So they brought Benjamin, Judah over from the kingdoms of Benin, which was the slave coast. What they call historically the slave coast in West Africa. Yes. Benin, the children of Ben, and Judah, or Judah, which what we know historically as the Gold Coast. And they did bring a lot of we over here. Right? It's both ends. But Congo Square was where we could all congregate freely. Because Congo priests that were brought over here were usually the ones that had enough syncretic vision, that could hear a Yoruba and know when he said Shango, he was talking about Kibilongu in his tradition. And could know all the different, you know, because these Congo priests, known as the Gangas or the Inyangas, they were like elder priests. And they usually created all the different houses we find, like in Haiti, where we find Kumina and Lukumi, in Cuba, where we find Kumina, right? Jamaica, Kumina, Brazil, Macumba, what they call the candomblé, right? It's usually Congo priests that founded them things. So the Congo Square, this is right in that same tradition. And there was a graveyard. So them was dealing with honoring the dead and ancestors. Philadelphia, if you don't know nothing else about Philadelphia, you need to know that this is a haunt. It was born, that so-called Penn Treaty happened October 27th, 1694, making it a Scorpio city. Scorpio deals with the underworld and the dead. Oh, you know, so like how this is a mob city, and really like this, the whole mob thing, the underworld, the dead, all them things is what Philadelphia's all about, right? Once you get, and the thing with Philly, what I've observed, no matter what tradition you from, you big up your ancestors, you're gonna be empowered.
Islam.
You're gonna be empowered. And all this is coming from this, in Congo Square. Okay? So, how did they manipulate this? It's now called Washington Square. George Washington is the commander-in-chief of what you would call the Congregation of the Dead. And usually, wherever you go in so-called United States and you find a George Washington memorial, it's either a mound. We're here?
No, can I interject for one
Please.
For everybody who's not from Philly, you see where all these people are right here?
Yep, yeah.
This line goes all the way up to the very next corner. This line is the seat of Liberty Bell. So that's Independence Hall right in front of you. And all the way up at the other end where you see all those people is where the Liberty Bell is now placed.
And those glass panels right there, that's a memorial to George Washington's enslaved. George Washington, as first president living here in Philadelphia, he lived right here. And when they were renovating, they found the enslaved quarters. And an activist up here was able to get a mission. What's that brother's name? Michael Cord was able to get an Avenge the Ancestors coalition and made them preserve and honor it. They was just going to build over it. But that's even what I'm talking about, like the ancestors, like that the powers in Philly are ultimately about the ancestors. This has really been a burial ground for 13,000 years, my understanding. And you could dig anywhere in Philadelphia, you're gonna find bones. Remember they found bones down in the South Street region from one of our first churches not too long ago, right? I want to say it was last summer, down there in Lombard, 5th and Lombard, up to like 8th and South.
No, a month ago.
It was a month ago?
No, again a month ago.
Oh yeah, they found some more down here. So Philly's one big haunt, one big burial ground. You gotta work with your ancestors here. And really all the ancestors, you gotta work with them all. So, but how did they manipulate Washington Square? They buried about 2,000 revolutionary soldiers there. And they got a tomb of the very first tomb of the unknown soldier that they got down at Arlington Cemetery down in D.C. Very first one is right there. As well as what they say, the eternal flame, a fire that never goes out. And they got 2,000 revolutionary soldiers there. And again, there is where George Washington is crowned Commander-in-Chief of the Congregation of the Dead. All of that's memorialized there. And wherever you go on the ley line grid, right? This science is called necrogeomancy. Dealing with the geomancy, you know, when you're talking about geomancy, you're dealing with the powers of the earth. Necro means the dead, right? So they want to control our ancestors just like they control us. And they do it by empowering George Washington with dead troops. All right, right here, look at the statue right here. Very significant. This is Chief Tammany giving away Amexem and Lenape-Hoking. He's standing like this with his hand out, left hand out, no, right hand out. Our giving hand. On a turtle, he's standing on a turtle, Turtle Island. So not only is he giving Amexem away, he's actually giving all of Turtle Island away. Because they killed his wife. And they plied him with rum and tobacco like they did to Discum, which is memorialized at the Treaty of Easton, memorialized on Council Rock. Yeah, it is worth getting out and seeing this. If we can get out, it's worth seeing this. This is significant.
We're going to jump out right there.
You got it good. I can't see his features. It's like I'm dark.
So-called Penn Treaty. He was the sachem or sheikh, sachem chief of Lenape-Hoking. His wife was the queen goddess Winona. How do we know she's a goddess? Chief Tammany's name means easy to talk to. One day, one of the colonizers asked Chief Tammany, "Why are you so easy to talk to?" He said, "I had intercourse with a divine being. That's why he was easy to talk to." And we know that his wife, and when we see his wife depicted, she's actually depicted as a Greco-Roman goddess wearing indigenous garb. Okay? But you see he's got his right hand out. He's giving away Turtle Island. You see he's standing on the turtle. There's the 5-pointed star representing that I, self-law, and master, that's what the society still stood upon.
Crazy.
Right?
Crazy.
The original landing was in Chester, but this is where they say Penn landed. Why? Because if he landed here, then the story that they tell that he took a casual walk up to meet with Tammany, right? Because right up the street, right up what they call now Delaware, They say that these are the Lenape were the Delaware Indians. Big misnomer, and never use that name. Delaware is a title in the British court. Okay? Delaware meant like governor of a significant province. There's a Delaware in Kenya. Okay? Because significant provinces of the British Crown, the person that goes and rules over that area, he's given the title Delaware. And because Lenape-Hoking was the indigenous capital, William Markham was actually his royal crown title was Delaware. And all proprietors following him, as far as the crown is concerned, receives that title Delaware. And so this is his land. So thus it becomes the Delaware Indians. You know? William Markham, and why Delaware, the state is called Delaware, because one of the most wickedest things I think William Markham did was assassinate the queen goddess Winona. He is the one responsible for throwing her over Lover's Leap, which is where we're going to end up today. And it was because he did that, he was able to get this land, because remember I told you, this land, they weren't trying to give it up. His payment for that, he was given the state of Delaware. The state of Delaware was given to William Markham. And that's why it's called Delaware, because he was the first Delaware. Alright? So they called this Delaware Ave, then Christopher Columbus Ave, but this street is actually the original Route 1. This was our north-south highway that connected from Maine to Florida. You know, indigenous trail. Okay, that's the significance of this street, what they call Delaware. But also, like I said, why they named this Penn's Landing? Because if we walk up about 5 blocks, you're at what's called Penn Treaty Park. And that was the actual Shaxamoxen, or Shechem-Moxen, the place where the sachems and the sheikhs would meet to work out problems. So that would be like the capital. The indigenous capital, not like Washington, D.C., but like actually the capital, like where ones from the different clans, where different sachems, you know, from the Montauks or the Piscataway, you know, them had to work something out. And why would they come here? The Lenape are the elders of humanity. That was like when you say Lenny Lenape, right? That's what you're saying. And we know tradition says when we have conflict and misunderstanding, what are we supposed to do? Go sit before our elders and seek counsel. Okay? And when we get up in Fairmount Park, right? That's where the Lenape themselves have, so Shaxamoxen, this is where all the 13 federated Algonquin clans would work out their differences right there at what's today called Penn Treaty Park. But when the Lenape had to work out their own issues, they went to a council rock up in the Wissahickon. And that's significant because the Wissahickon geologically is a Pangean microcontinent. It's some of the oldest land that we can stand on. We'll talk about, you can find crystals right on the surface, garnets, tourmalines, you know, because the land is so old, all of the 30, 40 feet of like, you might call sedimentary rock that's usually needed to create the heat, pressure, and conditions for crystals to form, all that's been eroded off, excuse me. Okay? So it would follow that the elders of humanity would hold council amongst themselves on the oldest land. Okay? But
Look at this shit, yo.
that's why
She must know.
that's why Penn Treaty. That's why Penn Treaty, Penn's Landing. That's why they made so-called Penn's Landing right there. to build into this mythical farce about Penn Treaty and Penn Landing. Because the story goes that he landed there, walked up, and brokered with Tammany for, you know, X amount of muskets and rum and this and that, and they exchanged a wampum belt to kind of, you know, signify it. But again, mythical farce, right? So I think we're coming up on the Congregation of the Dead, right?
Back over to Congo Square.
Yeah, so we're passing Congo Square again. All right, and then you'll be able to see this statue where there's like a tomb of unknown soldier, eternal flame, and George Washington being appointed commander-in-chief of the Congregation of the Dead. And they got a big plaque here.
No, go straight. Wrap around. As we can pull up the flashes. What's wrong? That's it to the left.
But this is it here. Former Congo Square, now Washington Square. You see that statue right there? It's not really worth getting out. And local Philadelphians, y'all can come back and check it and spend time here, right? But definitely bring a little something for them Congo Square ancestors when you come here. That's what I found too. You know, honor that, honor them. Because the whole, you know how the AME church and all them things jumped off? You know, the first AME church was about a block or two up here. And they really were tapping for the first congregations. They were tapping what they would call free people of color. And I know, like, what? I know. All right, but I'm just telling you who they would say will come here, right? And that's who they tapped for the beginning of them AME churches, Richard Allen and all of that. Okay, you can research Richard Allen's relationship to Congo Square. Okay, so now I know I've been all over the place, but we're gonna ride by City Hall, and I was talking about how City Hall really is what they use. And before I even go there, right? Because it has been said, like, yo, Ross, you must be on that real icky sticky, bro. Because you be looking at statues. You be looking at statues and coming up with all of this. How is that, brother? How is that? Okay. This is really a part of that magic I was talking about. Okay, because you know if you're a magi, and you say, what is that? A magi is one who magnetizes and magnifies the magnificence of our imagination. So that's what they're doing. That's what we all should be doing. Who's not a magi on this? All right, we all magi's, right? Right. So, but the thing is, them thinking big. If you're a magi and you want your magnificence, like the most magnified, what are you doing? We're fulfilling prophecy. That's what we should be doing. That's what we are doing, right? That's what this is, fulfillment of prophecy.
Right.
Well, what they were doing was controlling and manipulating these prophetic timelines. We know a magi who's tight with his game. You got to honor omniversal law. To the degree that you can honor omniversal law with your magi is to the degree that your magi is going to be successful. So they got to honor the law of free will. Meaning, they got to tell us what they're doing. And we have to consent for it to work. We know, like how I'm talking to y'all in straight English, saying like, yeah, this Philadelphia, it ain't about brotherly love. It was born to steal our birthright and manipulate prophetic timelines. If I was to just say that in English, and like I'm one of them, and I'm telling you, this is what I'm doing, you would resist. You would say, nah, I'm not down with that. Nah, you know, you're not going to do that. right? So what they do is, they tell us everything that they're going to do, but they tell us in the language of the muses. Art, architecture, archetype symbols. And Philadelphia is considered a museum without walls. When you study public art in Philadelphia, Philadelphia is considered a museum without walls. So the language of the muses is all around here. And they telling us everything they doing. Why do they use the language of the muses? Because they know most aren't going to pay attention. They choose not to pay attention. And even those that do pay attention, they choose not to take the time to verse themselves in the language of the muses, so they can't decipher with a fullness what it is they're looking at, because they don't choose to fully learn the language of the muses, art, architecture, and archetype symbols. So this is why they working their magic. And all these things is like Set and Ra said, these things is hidden in plain sight. It's right in front of us. You know? And I'm not from Philly. I tell people, they be like, what? I'm not from Philly. I live here 20 years. But the thing is, and see, I am from D.C. In D.C., they doing the same thing. And you got Anthony Browder doing, Tony Browder down there doing these same tours. You know, Egypt on the, Nile on the Potomac, and Egypt on the Potomac. You know, deciphering the architecture and archetype symbols of D.C. But thing was, growing up in D.C. and seeing what they was dealing with, but then coming up here and I was like, D.C. ain't got shit on Philadelphia, I'm sorry. How they doing this thing here? It's next level. It's next level. Because it's because of the indigenous legacy that's embedded here. Yes.
When we make this turn, Barry, I want y'all to pay attention to the archway. There's a word on top of the archway, it's justice. This is the north gate of City Hall. When you go through this gate, you're headed up North Broad. So it's symbolic of the north gate, but this is the only archway in all of City Hall with something written on top of it. Y'all can look out the wall, out the window to the left and you'll see it.
And I know I've been all over the place, but the thing, I'm going to seal up this City Hall thing. I told you, we're going to jump out because I want y'all to see. Like I said, this thing is built like a temple as far as its masonry, but even beyond that, it's designed like a temple. It has courts within courts, concentric courts, which, you know, making the innermost court like an inner sanctum or a holy of holies. And when we get in there, we see that, number one, it's a Babylon mystery temple, honoring, taking over the four corners of the earth with the four races of humanity. But then on another level, you see Jane Lee's prophecies all embedded in this, with talking about the strangers are going to more or less serve you, you know? So we'll show you that, and also on this side right here, and that was actually I think that was the south gate we were on, weren't we? This is the north gate right here.
This is the north gate. Just coming to
this is the north gate, and right here
all these police
is enshrined. Yeah, there's probably some protests going on.
Yeah, that's the homo stuff. That's where the homos always. Y'all see it? That's where they always hang out at. They let them hang their flag up there and everything.
The first Masonic Lodge of the nation is right here too.
On the northeast corner.
All right.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
All right. And this is, and right at the door of it, they got the key of David, the Star of David. Right. Like you gotta.
Yeah, they got that.
Gotta walk over to get in. But also here on this north gate too, they have William Penn's prayer for Philadelphia. Again, this is mythical and farcical, but basically, William Penn's prayer is praying. It's like praying for that fulfillment of that holy experiment that we had mentioned. That if the various churches of London and the indigenous can all live together in peace and harmony here, that this virgin settlement would be saved in the hour of trial, which is going to come upon the whole world.
Y'all can jump in.
Americans, right? They can all live together here.
will his colony be saved in the hour of trial, right? So, I'm just going to hit the key ones for you. O thou Philadelphia, virgin settlement, made before thou were born. I told you, Philadelphia society had already had this thing, all right? May thou be kept. My soul prays to God for thee, that thou may stand in the day of trial. Let thy children be blessed, and thy people saved by thy power. So again, this is them enshrining and memorializing this attempt to steal the birthright of being the one saved in the hour of trial, which is our profession. And again, they did it. Number one, they found it. This is we're on the, now technically, and they made a mistake with their like cartography and their geography. This is why you have what's called the Mason-Dixon line. All right, because originally William Penn was chartered the 40th parallel, which they at the time thought was down at what is now called Newcastle, Delaware, right? But the 40th parallel actually begins north of here, around, I'm gonna tell you like the best landmark for knowing where the 40th parallel is where Hunting Park feeds into Kelly Drive at Laurel Hill Cemetery. Okay? That's where the 40th parallel actually begins. So William Penn and William Markham and them boys, they built up here thinking this was on the 40th parallel originally, and found out it wasn't. It started creating disputes between William Penn and Lord Baltimore, who was granted the 39th parallel, became the colony of Maryland, right? So the dividing line of the Mason-Dixon line and all that, that's all tied in with this. But, you know, I wanted to put that out there also. Just make it for a while. I think it's like the main key is the art. But in this incorporation of humanity, indigenous African, indigenous Native American, an indigenous Asian, and an indigenous European.
They would call it the Djitsu. Yeah.
They in this too.
The backbone. That backbone of backbone of
Scandinavia, Denmark. You know, that was all the land of Dan. A lot of them Celts.
Then they come in and add stuff.
Right?
Yeah, I was just telling you that.
Because you know that stuff wasn't there.
Holding up, basically, fathers. Indigenous African, Indigenous American, Indigenous European, Indigenous Asian, and then there's children of this. Right? And then you see they got like the 4 elements represented with 4 archetype animals that have like astrological significance. Lion, bear, so the lion would be the fire element, bull would be earth element like Taurus. The bear is like air, and the elephant with the water. Okay? Now, there's one other thing I want us to see while we're here that's very significant too. Alright? And this really goes back to another reason why Philadelphia was created. Okay? And this ties back into that ultimate Rosicrucian mission. Alright? Because Sir Francis Bacon, I'm sure y'all have heard of Sir Francis Bacon. Okay, he was many things. A lot of people feel he was he was the writer of the Bible, and that he was Shakespeare was his pen name. Okay, so you got some of this with him. But one thing that Francis Bacon definitely he was a key investor in the Virginia colony. He had a lot of his money tied into the Virginia colony. Okay, and they made a lot of mistakes with the Virginia colony. One thing was the colonists that populated it, right? They drew from the king's court. So the people that came to Virginia, they were clothiers. They were, tailors and metalsmiths, like, fine metal, gold and silver. And, they didn't know how to till soil. They didn't know how to build shelter. And they definitely didn't know how to get along with indigenous people. How do we know that? Jamestown Massacre. All right? So Francis Bacon had a problem. And he went to his boy, Jacob Boehme, fellow Rosicrucian, to help him out. He said, Jacob, we need to create the ideal colonists. They gotta have a bare aesthetic. Like they can't, be wanting to smell good and look good, Their values gotta be real austere. And they gotta be able to live off the land, right? Build their own shelter. And they also gotta be able to get along with native people. So Jacob Boehme said, no problem. And he created a degree in Bohemian studies. So when you hear about Bohemians, when you think of a Bohemian, it's like a hippie, vegetarian, right? Long hair, right? Who does yoga, familiar with Eastern philosophies. They like mystically Christian, they can deal with Sufi, right? This is a Bohemian. So this is the tradition this all comes out of. The very first Bohemian graduate to come over here was Johann Kelp. We're going to go to his cave. He lived in a cave, right? Very austere. He was the ideal student, okay? Westgate. All right, no worries. So Francis Bacon with Jacob Boehme were the masterminds of getting Johann Kelp and all those things over here, right? To show you how that legacy carries on. The man who is called the father of modern Philadelphia, his name is Edmund Bacon, okay? You will know him better as the father of the actor Kevin Bacon. So I'm sure everybody's familiar with the actor Kevin Bacon. He's right here from Philadelphia. He is a descendant of Francis Bacon, okay? And his father, Edmund Bacon, is considered the father of modern Philadelphia. Meaning, you got Penn's Philadelphia, which is, I've already shared with you. Spring Garden to the north, South Street to the south, the Delaware or Lenape-Hana River to the east, and the Manayunk or the Schuylkill River to the west. But then, we know modern Philly, it's like, it was 9 different boroughs all merged together, right? In what was called the Act of Consolidation. I want to say that happened February 2nd, 1854. And true to a Scorpio city, it happened because of crime, because how there were 9 so connected boroughs, but each with their own jurisdiction. Ones would come down to Penn's Philly, commit some wild crime, and they could get right beyond Spring Garden and what was called Northern Liberties at that time, right? And be in a whole new jurisdiction. So to chill that out, they consolidated all 9 boroughs, right? And the man who integrated all of them into what we know of today as Philadelphia. The man who, like when we look at that chart, everything's gridded out on the ley lines, right? Edmund Bacon. So Edmund Bacon is also responsible. Why I'm sharing all of this? Because he did one other thing. He installed right here in the center of City Hall an astrological circle. It don't have no planets on it, but it's also not aligned with the cardinal points, meaning Aries is a pointed east. So it was a big mystery with this. What is it? What he was showing is Philadelphia's rising. That Philadelphia has a Cancer rising. So we knew the birth date of Philadelphia, which we had already said is the date they ascribed the Penn Treaty. October 27, 1694. What time, what rising would you give Philly? He encoded it in this astro circle that's here in the middle of City Hall. And if you cast a chart with a Cancer rising for that date, you get two inverted, well, you get two, it was a day when two grand trines were occurring, or that the planets, along with the ascendant, were making two 120-degree figures, you know, like two triangles. But the triangles aren't like the hexagram as we envision, like an equilateral Star of David. It's like it's inverted, it's slanted. Okay? And again with Magi's, right? All laws of the omniverse and creation are good. If a Magi wants to use symbology, the archetype symbols, and a nefarious intention, he has to skew them or invert them. So that's why when we deal with the 5-point star, the apex is at the top. And them deal with the 5-point star, it's like that goat of Baphomet with two points up. So when you make a chart, Penn Philadelphia chart with the rising Edmund Bacon encoded in this, you get a Star of David, but it's inverted, it's skewed. Okay? And again, if we get your email, someone, or I'll, give you my email, I can send you a picture of the chart with the two inverted triangles shown. But we could look at that astro globe and then we'll get back on the bus, all right?
Okay, you put the truth out there, in trouble.
Yeah. Man, this is amazing. Amazing. Man, my journey has just been amazing, man. I've been in and out, just
one of the weirdest museums you will ever experience. First thing I want y'all to observe is that it is architecturally, it's like a mausoleum, it's like a crypt. Okay, this right here. Okay, you know when you go to the cemeteries, you go to the crypts where they got that's his design. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And there's just as much in underground. There's installations underground also as above ground. Okay. But what's significant about here is here's where it's memorialized Ben Franklin opening the gates of hell. And he did this as an initiate of the Hellfire Club of England, known today as the Grand Freemason Lodge of England. But the founder of the or I don't know if he was the founder, but he was a big man in the Hellfire Club. His name was Philip, Duke of Wharton. He was like, he was such a bloodthirsty Satanist. He couldn't hide his Satanism. They would have like human and animal sacrifice. Like this dude was kind of like known, you know how like Podesta and all them things is coming out today. It's like there's certain ones that can't hide it, right? This is how Philip Duke of Wharton was. Because he was so off the chain, the Hellfire Club, it was like people were looking at him like, you know, like y'all are wild. So they changed their name to the Grand Freemason Lodge of England. I think that's significant. Y'all should know, right? And Ben Franklin was definitely down with this, okay? When they excavated his home in London, they found bodies of women and children in his basement, okay? But he opened up the gates of hell for the Hellfire Club. I'm not going to get into the depths of how, but more or less the why. Like, why? Why? There's nobody in this collective right here that, if you had the power to, I would think would have the will to open up the gates of hell. Like, why? What would it be in it for you? Okay? And the third Jock Lipschitz statue that, remember I told you we saw one. The third one, Prometheus strangling the vulture, which is on top at the foot of the art museum, tells why. Okay, Prometheus was a Titan. Titan means tall white or big white. Okay, like for chemists, titanium oxide or titanium is the classic whitener. And a Titan, if you say you're a Titan, you're a big man, you're a giant, you're a strength and whatever. If you're a Titan in business, then or whatever. So Titan means tall white. And this, and I use that term for those who are into like what them call that ET UFOlogy, because there is a race of what them call alien beings called tall whites. These are these Titans. These are the same beings that Hitler, through what is called the Vril Society or the Black Sun Society, he was working with these cats, okay? And they're supposed to be from the star Aldebaran. Again, without getting too deep into it, how Ben Franklin opened up the gates of hell, aligning the birth of the United States with the star Aldebaran. Okay? So, to memorialize this, well, why? Why would you open up the gates of hell? Prometheus, again, he was a Titan. He's one of these tall whites. He is the deceiver of Greco-Roman mythology. His name means forethought. He has the power and the ability to look into the future, see what it's supposed to be, and he goes to the present or goes back to the past, and he manipulates all of his relations to change that future. Okay? So he was one of the few Titans to not be, you know, the Clash of the Titans. Y'all remember the Clash of the Titans, right? From back in the day. It was the Titans versus the Olympians. The Olympians won and imprisoned the Titans below in the earth. Okay? And just to cut straight to the point, these Titans buried in the earth, biblically, they're the Nephilim, the fallen angels, right? And in UFOlogy, they're the reptilians, okay? Who are aligned with who they call the Greys, that are really like, they're like plant robots. They're not even autonomous, they're like puppets. They're like automated puppets made of plant material. So they can, you know, move, look like they're alive, but they're, you know. And these tall whites, okay? So why would Ben Franklin open the gates of hell? It's all tied in with this Prometheus statue, okay? Because like I said, how Prometheus escaped the judgment of the Titans. He went to the future, saw that the Titans were gonna lose. Then he like betrayed the Titans because he didn't want to receive that judgment. Sided with the Olympians, helped the Olympians win. So then the Olympians were like, all right, we're not gonna put you in the earth. But he wasn't really down with the Olympians, right? So what he did was to get back at the Olympians and to ultimately free his brethren that are in the earth. He stole electric fire from the heavens, gave it to humanity, right? That's the story of Prometheus. Now, he's the deceiver. Depending on what tradition you read, some look at Prometheus as like a savior. Jacques Lipschitz, you read why he depicts Prometheus. Oh, because I should even say. So once he gave the fire to humanity, the Olympians, you know, they was vexed. They gave him a harsh punishment. They didn't bury him in the earth with his brethren. They tied him to a rock in the Caucasus Mountains, okay, and put a spell on him of immortality, so that this vulture would come, take a bite out of him, and he would have to experience that pain. And then at night, he wouldn't die. It would grow back, and he would have to just, so it was like he was attached to a rock of eternal torment that would just take a bite out of him, you know. So Jacques Lipschitz depicts Prometheus strangling the vulture. He's freed from his judgment, right? So really what they're saying with their art and architecture with this whole thing is, Ben Franklin opened up the gates of hell to free the Titans. Titans got out. Those Nephilim, these tall whites, they're memorialized. We're gonna see the statue that they're memorialized. Well, y'all gonna see the statue. I ain't going near it. All right?
Tell them what happened, why you don't go over there.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you, it's the creepiest, illest statue I've ever been around. And if you go and check it, I don't recommend you stay long. Okay? Because it can impact your health and your vitality. It's done it to me. All right?
Fortified.
Yeah, fortified. Say your prayers, charge up, go look, make your strike, look at it, and get out. All right? But it depicts these two Nephilim, these fallen angels that have been freed. One's got a human and is sodomizing him from the back. The dude is like in agony. The other one is acting like a vampire, but not with his mouth, but like with his hands. He's sucking the vitality out of this man's neck, and he's crumbling, he's falling. And then the next victim is standing there like this, helplessly, kneeling there, like just watching. So Ben Franklin freed the Nephilim, who then freed Prometheus. Gave Ben Franklin technology, the electric fire. And in exchange, Franklin allows the Nephilim to feed on humanity. All of this, we're gonna see all this is right up there. All this is right here. So we're gonna look at the gates of hell, where here's the thinker. So Ben Franklin, the thinker, the most iconic statue probably there is. Right? If you say, think of a European statue real quick, more often than not, this is what people are going to think about. Ben Franklin is the thinker, so we're going to look at the thinker. Then when we go up to the gates of hell, I want you to see that the thinker is also on the gates of hell. So it's with his mind and his intention and his thoughts. This man opened up these gates. And what's depicted on the gates is all the sufferings of the second hell. Okay? Meaning that once they freed the Nephilim, they've created hell on earth. So this is the first hell. Okay? We're on the first hell. The gates of hell show the depictions of the second level of hell. Just like the 7 heavens, the 7 hells. Okay? You'll see it. It's just sufferation, torment and sufferation. And all the other statues that you'll see around, the postures reflect guilt and shame. guilt and shame, Rome antics, the antics of Rome, politricks, and sexual deviance and fuckery. Okay? This is how you get into that. This is how you get into hell. All right? So we'll check this out. Then we'll walk. We're going to then meet Set and Ra at Eakins Oval. All right? And I will just say, too, like this stretch right here, this Ben Franklin Parkway, this is it right here. Just in terms of the, like them telling, like they're mad. Remember we say, they got to tell us everything they're doing. City Hall is a part of the Parkway. You see that's right there. That's City Hall. That's where we just at work. That represents future Rome, Mystery Babylon, the idea of Urbana, because Babylon was an ancient empire, but Babylon we know just represents domination by urbanization. Babylon, cities. So City Hall, that Mystery Babylon, but in Babylon it is future, north. Art Museum represents Rome's Grecian past. And then from the past to the future, everything else is all right in here. So like if you want to study art, architecture, art type symbols to really see what they're doing, this strip right here, this is it. This is one of the most significant stretches there is to study. Okay? This is supposed to be Adam, the first man, Adam. His posture, his balance, and shame. When your head is down, your head's to the side in balance. Your head is down, that's shame. That's a theme in all of the art here, guilt and shame. Okay? Head on up.
Yo, the Jones, you know that also the Jones in the White House too. Michelle Obama's got two of them sitting right beside her in the cockpit. Yeah, but it's not in the no, it's out. It's in conference. It's in the international press room. Yeah. That's what they did. Yeah, man. Yeah, they did a jig, man.
See that one? You see that one hiding up there? Underneath the thing right there? That's crazy shit.
The baby inside. Two of them down there.
How did you get over there? How did baby get over there? Baby's trying to get out of here. Baby's like, yo, I'm out this.
Almost.
Oh, he's climbing. He's climbing up. That's crazy. Wow. The gates of hell, man.
This is real. These are all handles and descriptions, and then you just work with just basically.
I was going to say it looked like the Buddhist when I looked at no. And there's one on the yeah. And you wonder like Dante's Inferno, yeah. Probably bodies. Well, yeah, but they are in like in the netherworld. And then the baby's inside. I know. So they got us like spiritually, man. They got the colorable stuff. They attack them every.
Yeah, they cover all angles, huh? They cover all angles. For all the naysayers who don't have a flag, where's your flag at? There's ours. Islam. Islam Moors. There's your flag. On the Parkway in Philadelphia.
In 1991, first moved to Philadelphia, and I was a student at Temple, and we hosted Steve Copeland up here.
R.I.P.
And afterwards, we were like, you know, anything we could do for you, brother? He's like, I only want y'all to do one thing. And that was, you wanted to come and see the statue. And like I said, I was new to the city. I wasn't even really on this, like, research. So, came, looked, he couldn't, it's like, we all just came and looked. It was like, you know, but that always stood out in my mind, and it made me, like, keep paying attention, you know, and studying. And, yeah, what I have come to figure out, like, why this, like, what is the significance of this statue? Saying how to steal a birthright. It's 4 steps. First step, you gotta assassinate the matriarchal governor, okay? Or the grandmother clan, you gotta dismantle it, right? And so that's what this memorializes, the assassination of the queen goddess Winona, who was Chief Tammany's wife and the elder of the grandmother clan. And I mentioned to you that she was a goddess beyond being a queen. She was a goddess, right? Where the one account they have of Chief Tammany referencing her. Chief Tammany's name means easy to talk to. And one of the colonizers asked him one day, why are you so easy to talk to? And he said, I had intercourse with a divine being. You know, so he's saying his wife was a goddess. And even when you see how she's depicted, facially, they got her as like a Greco-Roman goddess, right? I want you to notice too, though, she's holding a trident. Remember Jane Lee's prophecy. The daughter of Tyre, the daughters of Tyre shall be there with a gift. And Tyre was the Phoenicians, the Carthaginians, the worldwide navigating Moors, the daughters of Tyre. She's here holding a cornucopia. So that's what I'm saying. We have to read Jane Lee's prophecy. She puts a whole nother layer on the meanings of these things. How they really, they say, speak your words into manifestation. Yeah, they did this thing. Because here, you can say the daughter of Tyre is here with a gift. And how do we know she's a daughter of Tyre? Even though her face is Greco-Romanized. Study her garments. They got indigenous, what they would call Native American patterns on them, And her foot is chained. That's another significant thing about it too. Alright? And I know Set and Ra had suggested we really pay attention to the Tammany statue, his posture, his pose, the nature of the eagle. Here, he's on his ass, chilling, not paying attention, eagle down, guards down. What's he not paying attention to? These two colonizers creeping up on the queen goddess with it's the original cap up. He's tipping his cap. With one hand, he got a cloak dagger in the other, about to take her out. This other one's offering a wreath, saying, be a part of the Roman Empire, with one hand. The other, he's got a cloak dagger. Oh, I forgot to mention, I started talking about, like, she's a daughter of Tyre. How do we know? Also, beyond the garment, she's holding the trident, which, beyond representing the power of Neptune, we know represents Atlantic, oceanic navigation.
Because I was thinking about Aquaman with the Aquaman has a trident.
That's right. So she's saying she's the empress of a transatlantic empire on this side. She has that government authority on this side. She's holding that scepter. Okay? So this is the queen goddess. We go on this side. Let's because we're gonna give like us time to like explore it. Don't mess down, right? And every time that we've come down here, right? We first was coming down, right? We'd be like, man, what the hell is Ben Franklin looking at? What is this mystery here with this dude, right? Now, we could say he's looking away from the assassination, acting like, I ain't see no evil.
Out of sight, out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. Like I'm not in it, right? So he could be doing that. He could be looking at Fairmount, because this is the Museum of Art. But this mound right here. This is the most sacred earth mound of Lenape-Hoken. This is where we said, what we do here happens to full participation of the earth. Okay? So he could be looking at that, looking at the powers of that, right? Or he could be looking at the art museum, right? Which is beyond being a museum. It's really, this is another temple, like how we said City Hall is a temple. This is designed to be a Greek temple to the Muses. And again, to build on that story we were talking about at the gates of hell. Their architecture, archetype symbols, they're telling a real deep story. Actually, the continuation of the Clash of the Titans. Okay? What they're saying is, Ben Franklin opened up the gates of hell. released the Titans, the Nephilim. And they have taken over Mount Olympus, which is right here. This is supposed to be Mount Olympus. And y'all know a brother designed this, Horace Trombone. Am I pronouncing it right? Horace Trombone? But anyway, it's a temple. It's got two entrances. One is an immortal entrance. The gods enter. That's the one up these steps. These are the famous Rocky steps. I know y'all know that. So you run up here, you see him doing the Rocky pose, and the brother Ampu, he got a whole deep science on that, you know, as far as Balboa being a serpent, you know. He's got a lot of deep science with it. Check out Ampu, Philadelphia Exposed. He got a classic DVD. He's really, like, I did some works with Ampu. We collaborated like in 2011, 2012, you know. He really is like the trailblazer with this. He's the first one who came out with a DVD, Philadelphia Exposed. It's a classic. I know Black and Nobel carry it. I don't know if it's on YouTube yet, you know. But like I say, when I come out with Set and Rob, I usually get to decode a deeper level. And the last time we was out here, I really think we cracked what Franklin's looking at. It's tied in with that same artist, Jacques Lipschitz.
This guy's name is...
Got the statue of us in the torture poses holding up William Penn. He's got the statue Spirit of Enterprise, we're ultimately going to end up at How to Steal a Birthright. And then there's a very small statue right up there in front of the immortal entrance to the art museum called Prometheus Strangling the Vulture. So, the story they're telling with the Clash of the Titans is that the Olympians, the gods, are actually trapped. It's like a home invasion. They trapped in the temple. They're up there. We'll see them up on that panel up there, right? Their entrance is blocked by Prometheus fighting with the vulture, right? The mortal side's on the backside. We're going to walk by there. Mortal side's open. People can go in and out there. But on the side of it, the Nephilim that were freed from the gates of hell, they munching on the mortals coming in and out, right? And so the Clash of the Titans continues. And how does this all tie in? This is what Ben Franklin this is what he's looking at. This was his inspiration. Prometheus is his muse. Because that Prometheus statue is directly aligned with it. And it's a small statue. That's why it's escaped. Like Jacques Lipschitz, the other statues are very big and prominent. The statue here is real small. Particularly compared to being in the grand immortal entrance. You know, it's like when you go there, your eyes are drawn to the column entrance. The statue's kind of small and inconspicuous where it's at. But this is what Franklin's looking at, Prometheus, and he's like, let me get this electric fire from you, this technology that we already talked about when we passed the Franklin Institute of Science, Technology, and Invention, right? So I'm free the gates of hell in exchange for receiving this technology, and in exchange for y'all giving this technology, we'll let y'all exploit the mortals.
That one with the brush on it.
And they got that flirt snake.
Knowing the tradition of Ben Franklin getting this quote unquote discovering electricity. This Prometheus was his muse. This is what has his attention. This is what he was looking at. The ultimate mystery of what he was looking at on that page. So there's the Olympians, right? Keep it moving. Let's go around.
Yeah.
On the other side. He shot us right through the door. Yeah, he let stay right. I was down there. I was like, yo, go on up. They were let it here by their people.
Oh, okay.
Assassination of the Queen Goddess and the new Queen Columbia being installed with this necrogeomancy. This is step 2. And isolate the Lenape woman or the indigenous woman and spawn your seed in her. So you got a Lenape woman, and when you look at her, you see the
native
indigenous in her, right? But she's not with a king. She's not with a sachem. She's by herself.
Ready to fight.
Yeah, she's got her tomahawk, but it's down.
Yeah.
You know, it's pointed down. She got 2 youth. One is looking to suckle, like looking for nurturance and security. The other one's looking for security, like scared.
Yeah.
You know. And they've been Europeanized. The children look more European than the mother.
Yeah.
So I forgot is the name of this on there? It's like something with the Stone Age or something.
What's under her? Is that
might be in that little seal at the bottom. It's a little seal.
This is called the Centennial. Maybe if it's not Centennial, no, it's not Centennial Hall, but these are all Centennial memorials. These were made when Philadelphia had its 100th year birthday. And there was a World's Fair here in Philadelphia. It was a very big thing. Because, you know, one thing that we maybe forget in this post-industrial society we're in now, but kind of building on that thing with Ben Franklin and technology, Philadelphia was a big industrial hub in the 1800s. A lot of industry was innovated and running here, you know. So Philadelphia on the world stage really was, like, for a while, an example of the modern metropolis. And so they had a big World's Fair here, kind of coinciding with the centennial celebration, its 100th year anniversary. A lot of the things that, a lot of the statues and memorials we'll see along here was built during that time. And it's aligned with Memorial Hall, which is kind of due west of here. On the other side of the zoo. So the zoo is right across there. And it's my understanding the zoo was Ben Franklin's lab. His experimental lab is what morphed into the zoo. All right? And rum. Of course, they don't have the rum depicted here, but they do got the tobacco. We have an isolated statue. He's not with his wife. He's not with his children. He's by himself. And you see towering over him is a European family, man, woman, and child. Okay? And this is the settling of the seaboard. Okay? And this is also related to another statue, and unfortunately we're not going to get to today, which is the Chief Tediska statue, which is on Council Rock, way up in Fairmount Park. You got to hike about a mile in and a mile out just to get to it. And it's kind of treacherous. Not treacherous, but you got to go up and down some hillsides, and with the rain, the recent rain, it's probably, you know, it's for the next tour, all right? But how they, how they manipulated the men, the sachems, Chief Tediska in particular, because the Treaty of Easton was, we talked about the Walking Treaty, right? But there were also other land brokerings and what they would call Penn's Woods that the Lenape elders were not comfortable with. So they sent Tedescan up to Eastern Pennsylvania to meet with the proprietors of Penn. And, you know, he said, like, right, some Lenape signed treaties who didn't really have the authority to do it, right? Others, the treaties were, the deeds are legitimate, right? But y'all, you know, we were expecting y'all to have like 20 acres. Y'all ended up with 20,000 acres, you know? Like we gotta work this out. So the meeting was at a man named Paul Grogan's house. He's a very interesting character. We all need to study more because he was Celtic in heritage. His Celtic heritage allowed him to translate Algonquin. Okay? And what I think that comes out of is they say the 10 tribes, when they came over here seeking refuge, it wasn't a direct transatlantic voyage like we think of. But they actually migrated up into the British Isles, took a 2-day sail to Greenland, a 2-day sail to Iceland, a 3-day sail to Newfoundland, and then migrated down. And even when you look at the language dispersal of Algonquin speakers, right? It's like the concentration starts in the northeast and kind of works west and south. That's what, you know. So, but this dude, Paul Grogan, is who hosted the Treaty of Easton. And all the while he was plying Tedescan with rum and tobacco, rum and tobacco, rum and tobacco. Because Tedescan went up there saying, and this shows like the whole thing of the grandmothers being the decision makers and the sachems being more like representatives. Because he said, I'm not here to make no decisions or sign no deeds or treaties. I'm here to listen and see what claims y'all have, what deeds you have. And I got to take this, go back and recorded. And they just kept wearing him down, day after day. Like, look, just look at the treaties here, and let's just do this here, you know? And after about the 4th or 5th day, he finally said, okay, on the condition that he gets a secretary to record the way his understanding of it was. Because they had prior negotiations. And when the English settlers kind of played those negotiations out different than what the Lenape were expecting, and they were like, nah, this isn't what we agreed to. The English settlers said, hold up, our secretary wrote down everything and pulled out a document that a secretary had written, right? So they were like, all right, you got us, right? So Tedescan was thinking, all right, damn, y'all, y'all not gonna let me go until we do this thing. All right, well, give me a secretary and we'll make it happen. His secretary was Charles Thompson, who was the secretary for the Continental Congress. He's the one who wrote the Declaration, Constitution, actually, penned it. He also designed the Great Seal of the United States, right? So we'll never know really what Tedescan agreed to, really. Even though Charles Thompson is said to have documented it. Because another thing Paul Grogan did, hosting him, gave him bedding with smallpox. So he died before he made it back to Philadelphia. But Charles Thompson came representing him with a document saying that Tedescan signed off on all the deeds that they presented as valid. And Tedescan had gone up there with a wampum belt also that they had tricked him out of, saying the proprietors of Penn wanted to see it and study it. They never gave it back to him. When he passed, they just gave it to Charles Thompson. So Charles Thompson came back to Philly with a wampum belt and these notes that he said were Tedescan's, claimed all the deeds were valid. Y'all gotta roll west of the Alleghenies. Stealing our prophetic birthright to advance Rome's crusade. Alright? So this is what we're looking at. Here is the Lenape. Here's his face, head, he's wearing an apron. Those are his feet. Can y'all see that? He's got locks. This is his face. Right here. He's got locks coming down here. Y'all see that, right? Alright. You see you got this giant dude in scout's pose. So he's got what you would call an Indian spirit. Alright? So the Lenape's on his back. With his arm, he's holding up a giant dude. With the feet, he's holding up an eagle. Giant dude's got a caduceus, which we mentioned. That's Imhotep's staff. 2 intertwining serpents. You can see the serpent's head right here. But the serpents also left the staff. They're not in that intertwined state. One serpent is coming down here and is wrapped around the belly of the Algonquin. That's what these things are right here. See the serpent touching the eagle and then going up on the giant dude, right? So that's what's on this side. Now let's get on the other side.
Yeah, they got it. I'm sorry, it does just look like, what's going on here? Wait till you see it on this side.
So now on this side, the Lenape has lost his identity. There's nothing that you can see that would tell you that under there was an indigenous man on his back. Now, all of this area is like genitalia coming straight out of this giant dude, which really is a super soldier. Alright? A super soldier, genetically modified, genetically enhanced soldier to advance Rome's crusade. What's the genetic modification, the genetic enhancement? Our bloodline. The Queen Goddess. He was the only European that had access to the Queen Goddess. Okay? But then, like I say, he was not down. He like what Jacob Boehm taught him. Like he believed it. You know, his spiritual name, and we'll see this on the plaque in front of the cave. His spiritual name was the content of God-loving soul. That was like his spiritual name, the content of God-loving soul. So that was his thing. He had a high love frequency. And with that, was able to manifest powers that the Lenape was like, well, they recognized. And then, William Markham was able to manipulate. Because again, when we see where the Hermit's Cave is, and we see where Lover's Leap is, the only natural conclusion that we can come up with is that the Queen Goddess Winona came here to meet Kelp and whoever he was here with, who my feeling was William Markham. Okay? Whose name, his name has come up several times because really he is the mastermind and orchestrator of a lot of what we're talking about, right? And again, what was his reward for doing this? The state of Delaware. And remember his first title, he was the first Delaware of Penn's Woods, which is a title in the King's Court. Governor of an important province. That's what the Delaware is. Okay? So we can head on down.
Yeah, see, I would come this way.
I think they reinforced it.
For real, huh?
Yeah, recently, just to like, I'm gonna do one more.
Okay.
Just to, because I tell you, a lot of people do come here.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of natural caves all through
Just
this
all
valley.
around here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For real.
Yeah, there's several. I have found a couple that were so big, they sealed them off so people can't get up in there and hit them, But yeah, there's caves all up in this Wissahickon Valley. And again, this is this Pangean microcontinent.
Man, that says Morocco. I don't care.
This is Pangea. This is when there was one land mass. This land was a part of that. Yeah.
I want to get the glyphs too. Because they think they're slick.
Yeah, they really think they're. They really think
they
they're.
got
You got the scarab.
the American Order of the Rosy Cross. A Mort.
You ever watch Curse of the Oak Island?
What is it?
The Curse of the Oak Island.
Nah, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, check that out.
All right.
Go ahead.
Huh.
I got it from there.
Curse of Oak Island. It's a film?
It's a series.
A series. All right, what's it coming on?
I think it's one of the History Channel.
All right, history. All right.
They got my art up there and everything, The hell?
Yeah, Ma'at. This is Keppra.
Yeah, Keppra and everything.
Right, for the creed or the word of Ma'at. They got the they're two opposing triangles, but they're not made into the Star of David.
Yeah.
But they do got them here.
They both got 4 quarters.
The Red Cross.
So yeah, here's his spirit name, the Contented of God-Loving Soul. First Rosicrucian colony in America, then known as the Monks of the Ridge. Yeah. And there's a stream that comes out right there too. In recent times, it's not as flowing as it used to, you know. Like you used to be able to sit here and hear the water kind of bubbling out, you know. But it's not really like that in recent years, you know. And the Wissahickon Creek is right down there. If you could see where the cars, you see the cars passing in the distance. The creek is right there. Okay. And that was what when we were crossing over the valley, that's what we was crossing over.
Okay.
And its claim of fame that y'all probably everybody knows of, that's where Teddy P had his fateful night.
Yeah. Oh, that's the spot right there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
On Lincoln Drive.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, on Lincoln Drive.
Shit,
It was probably a little bit further up, because when we at Lover's Leap, you'll see it's like some kind of wild bends. And yeah, that's where he had his fateful night, you know.
Honors to Teddy P.
That's the kind of energy going in there with.
Covered on seeing shit in there. Nothing slippery?
I smell someone was sick. Hey, you got some sage?
Yeah, give us some sage.
Yeah, you should bless it up while we're here.
It's crazy, right? Looks like some Alhambra down here or something. What the hell?
A name used to name many places. It's a toponym. Pennsylvania has 2 Lovers Leaps. This one and one up in the Delaware Valley Gap. Is that what it's called? Delaware River Gap. All right. But the thing with this Lover's Leap compared to the others, all the others are advertised, they're promoted, they got signs, they got parking lots, they got concession stands, plaques with stories, you know? But this is the real, the first, this is it, right? And because it's really concealing them throwing over and assassinating the Queen Goddess, first they had to put a spin on it and say she jumped. Why they're called Lover's Leap is because they say the Indian princess loved a colonist and love wasn't returned, so she jumped over. That's why it's called Lover's Leap, right? And you'll hear different variations of that story every Lover's Leap you go to. But why they created all the others is like a needle in a haystack, you know? So that it's like, what is this? What is this Lover's Leap thing? Because I'm gonna tell you, it's actually Ampu. Ampu is really the first one to kind of put these pieces together. You know, he hadn't scienced it all, but he scienced a lot of it. You know, this thing of Lover's Leap, but this being the first, the most significant, but like the least promoted, the one least known about. Because as you see, there's nothing marking it. Johann Kelp got a marker. Right.
For real.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Shit.
But this is just, like if you don't know, you'd never know. You would just jog by it.
We should put one ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes, I. You say you did it for years. Yeah.
When you said it, I'm like,
you pictured it. That's right.
I've been running past it for years. I had no clue what it was.
Yeah.
But also too, the significance of Lover's Leap being close to the Hermit's Cave is kind of, like I say, it speaks to the fact that really the only European who had access to it was Johann Kelp. And William Markham used that, manipulated it, and he took the Queen Goddess out. I don't think Johann expected that. And like I say, it really, he had a sudden, unexpected death from like a sudden onset illness that it's kind of mysterious. And I think I started to tell the story on the bus, but I think something else came up. But another mystic story with the hermits is Johann Kelp's passing, because he knew he was going to pass, and he had a chest. He had this like chest that probably has some strong juju in it, some, you know, things with mystic powers in it, right? So he called one of his disciples and was like, take this down to the Schuylkill and throw it in the water, right? So his disciple took the chest, got out of his sight, and then started thinking like, oh, I'm not gonna throw this in the water. There's probably a lot of power in here, you know, like, you know, I'm gonna just let this cat pass, and then I'm gonna get in it, right? So he took it out of Johann's sight, kind of just hit it, you know. Then he came back to Johann, and he was like, why you disobeyed me? Why didn't you put the chest in the water? And he was a little shocked, you know. He tried to lie, and Johann was like, you know, the power that you want, you can't get it this way. You know, which you can't get the power this way, brother. Go back and do what I told you to do. So then the man went, got the chest, took it down to the Schuylkill and threw it in. They said when it hit the water, it was like explosions and lightning and a lot of turbulence in the water, you know? And when he went back to Johann, then he passed. He was dead by the time he got back, you know? But, you know, all of that, again, it kind of speaks to the connection Johann had with the Queen Goddess, his manipulation by William Markham and other Rosicrucians, his innocence of intention, and the mystical powers that he was able to manifest. And it is a good historical lesson for us, because trust of others has always been a hindrance to our pastoral, diplomatic, international relations. We've been traumatized by how we've been tricked and manipulated for hundreds of years, such that now it's very difficult for us to have trust of those that look different than us, and it impacts how we communicate with them, you know? And it's like on some levels, we're completely and thoroughly justified when we study historic examples, such as here we are at Lover's Leap, where one of our ancient goddess leaders lost her life trusting a European, you know? But I take it as food for historical thought and things that we got to heal ourselves from in order to regain our place on the world stage. You know, because we do have to, we can't interact on the world stage out of nigger pain. You know what I mean? And that's really like, our buttons that nigger button gets pushed real easy when we around Europeans, you know what I'm saying? And they act like, you know, we around that get out environment, you know, and they acting all fake in front of us. It's hard to stay in your noble state, you know? And I can't help but think about them things when we're on this part of the tour, you know? Because we do got to get out, if we want to get out of this condition.
Get out.
Right? We do got to retake our place on the world stage.
Yeah.
And we have to be noble. And the way we talk, and the way we carry ourselves on that world stage, you know? And like you say, you can't help but think about it when you hear, you know? So I know I've done a lot of talking. Y'all been a great group. Y'all done a lot of listening, and y'all been present and with us, so I give thanks, you know? And I thoroughly enjoyed today. Enjoyed being with y'all. You know, Canaan. We got a lot of out-of-towners, not just Canaanland, but I found a sister from Ohio. Who else is not from Philly? Rochester, New York. Where? D.C. Yeah, give thanks. This is for yes. Yeah, this is fulfillment of this is fulfillment of prophecy. You know, different ones coming and doing these works and these reasonings in these times. You know, they said this was going to happen. So yeah, we give thanks that we are the ones making it happen. You know, and yeah, give thanks. I've learned. I've already peeped some things when we was down by the art museum and river ride. I peeped some new things that, all right, I know I gotta start researching this. Yeah. Every time I'm with the brethren doing these tours, you know.
For
so
real.
give thanks.
It's love.
Let's do something different.
Huh?
Let's do something different. We don't have no wrong. All right. Yeah. Let's pour some libations.
You gotta pour yes side for the Queen Goddess. Yes side. So glory to word, glory to sound, and glory to power. As it was in the beginning, let it be right here, right now, in this divine time, in this sacred space. One love, one heart, one mind, one soul, one God, one aim, one destiny. Ashe?
Ashe.
Yes side. Let's give thanks to that omniversal awareness known by many names. Some know him as Allah, some know him as Jah, some know him as Ra, Onyame, Olodumare. Give thanks, Most High. Give thanks for our life, health, and strength. Give thanks for our knowledge, wise mind, overstanding. Give thanks for our faith, love, and charity. And give thanks for our food, clothing, and shelter.
Ashe.
Yes, we want to honor the ancestors that are with us today. Mothers of our mothers.
Ashe.
And fathers of our fathers.
Ashe.
Yes, those that are by our left.
Ashe.
And those that are by our right.
Ashe.
Yes, those that is from Africa. Ashe. And those that are from the Americas.
Ashe.
Yes, I want to especially acknowledge Queen Goddess. We give thanks that we have the awareness of your story.
Ashe.
We're going to keep that awareness alive. Ashe.
Ashe.
Beyond that, we're going to live in a way that resurrects our ancient liberty. Ashe.
Ashe.
Yes, I resurrects our ancient nationhood. Ashe.
Ashe.
Yes, I. And in doing so, we're going to also honor the yet unborn, those that dwell in the wombs of the mamas and the loins of the babas. Ashe. Yes, I. So we're going to resurrect this ancient nation for your sake, so that you can come into a place worthy of your presence. Ashe.
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 Ashe. Ashe.
Moorish assassin, anonymous in the building. All Moroccans. What? Think I fell off or fell out, but when I yell out, I ain't afraid to tell the sellouts to get the hell out of the temple. You defile your temple, get the shell out. It's contaminated, get the smell out. You overrated, and I know you hating. What does Canaanland Moors do?
Moorish works for national progress and Moors do. Not need no fighting on YouTube to get views. We elevating minds, revealing more jewels. So who got next on the Pro Tools? Yes, my bar's next rhyme is the Moors on the rise, so you get where I'm coming from.
Young Moors say they thirsty and hungry for knowledge. Most of us never been university or college. We study the universe that ancestors pay homage. And when I say that I'm on it, yo, I'm on it. For better or worse, I make that promise, I carry out the works for my holy prophet. Stop it, if you think you can. This topic is way over your head, and most talk shit cause they can't comprehend. An optic illusion is what they see instead. Most talk shit cause they can't comprehend. An optic illusion is what they see instead, huh?
Read through, it's just info. No, we never been po. Paper to the people, nature hold the sequel. Until the mind reads decline from divine. Stuck in time, missing signs, oh the line is the people. And yes, I want you for your heads up. This your birthright, light torch, wake up. I'm on the raise up, playing got the stakes up. My fire till the Jake's cut, many out just caked up.
They say in God we trust, but really and truly all we got is us. And you can't fool me, I know God is us. And we unruly, from the womb corrupt. Take off the veil, the facade is up. Move like turtle and snails in a barrage, I'm up. Like Chestermate still in a mirage, we stuck. Still I know we gon' prevail, cause Allah is what?
More praise do be to Allah. We shouted out records from scriptures on the wall. Before that, look to the stars, no holds bar. Timeless, limitless, and it goes far. Yo, it's coming like stories, show fraud. Opposites on the planet, with humans that work hard planning to have it.
It's all mind excavation.
You took my birthright, poured quad. Yo, maybe for your bloodline, maybe for the oath that you took or the contract you signed. Constitutional fraud boy, sign line or get sidelined. I come from seeds of divine lines.